At the turn of the 21st century, scientists predicted that by 2020, climate change will have increased the number of people at risk of malaria by 60%. Other diseases, such as mosquito-borne yellow fever and tick-borne encephalitis, have been projected to escalate in transmission in a warmer world too. These hypotheses were grounded in the understanding that major vectors for infectious diseases, like mosquitoes and ticks, experience population increases in warmer weather. Over the past several decades, our planet has undoubtedly warmed, but the trend in infectious disease transmission has not been as clear. So what drives the transmission of infectious diseases? And what does climate change have to do with it? Let's start by understanding what infectious diseases are and how they spread to humans. Some of the most common and devastating infectious diseases include malaria, West Nile virus, Ebola, dengue, yellow fever, and Zika. Pathogens are the microorganisms that cause infectious diseases, and they come in a variety of shapes and sizes, from submicroscopic viruses to unicellular bacteria and protozoa to multicellular parasites. Pathogens can be divided into two broad categories based on how they transmit diseases to humans. First, there are anthroponoses, which have evolved to use humans as their primary hosts. Then there are zoonoses, which use non-human animals as their hosts. Zoonoses can be transmitted to humans directly, such as a bite from a rabid animal, or indirectly through intermediate hosts called vectors. Vector-borne zoonoses play a key role in how climate may influence the spread of infectious diseases. Now we can begin to answer the question, how might climate change exacerbate infectious disease transmission? One major aspect is the biological response to warming. Pathogens, vectors, and hosts each have a range of temperatures within which they can survive. This can be represented as a thermal performance curve, with an organism's biological function rising from a lower limit, peaking at an optimal temperature, and then falling at an upper limit. Species with a narrow thermal performance curve are more vulnerable to temperature changes, while those with broad curves are more resilient. In addition to intrinsic thermal limits, how an organism might respond to a warmer world also depends on its ability to regulate its own body temperatures, shift major life cycle events such as the timing of reproduction, or migrate to places with an optimal climate. As higher latitudes and altitudes get warmer, pathogen-carrying vectors that are able to will migrate poleward or higher in elevation. This could expose native hosts to a disease which they have never encountered before, and therefore have no acquired immune response that would help protect them. Aside from these biological factors, disease transmission can also be affected by economics and other human actions. On the one hand, human behavior could mask the effects of climate on an infectious disease. For example, a region that has become warmer and wetter with a climate change would, in theory, see an increase in mosquito populations and therefore an increase in malaria transmission. But if that region implements more robust healthcare or adopts preventative measures like insecticide-treated bed nets, malaria transmission might stay the same or even go down. This explains why many wealthier countries, despite having climates suitable for mosquitoes, have practically eradicated malaria transmission, while less wealthy countries with similar climates still grapple with the disease. On the other hand, the combination of climate change, economics, and human behavior could amplify an infectious disease. For instance, if climate change causes crop failures or livestock deaths due to floods, droughts, or heat waves, people may be driven to eat or sell wild animals in order to alleviate food insecurity or economic hardship. In fact, scientists have inferred that some of the past Ebola outbreaks were caused by the hunting and consumption of wild chimpanzees and fruit bats. As we have learned, the biological relationship between climate change and infectious disease is incredibly complex, and it is complicated by external factors and human behaviors that may mask or amplify the effects of a rapidly changing climate. Ecologists and epidemiologists are hard at work trying to better understand these questions. In the meantime, don't forget your bug repellent.